Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Welcome to the Infowars Nightly News. Today is Tuesday, March 31st, 2015. I'm your host, Rob Dew, and here's a look at what's coming up.
Tonight, a generation of slaves. A look at student debt. Then, New York is moving ahead with full-term abortions with lethal injections into babies' hearts. And a look at the new PBS Ken Burns documentary on cancer. All that and more on tonight's Infowars Nightly News.
Well, if you're a TV head that lives on the East Coast, Monday morning your programming was interrupted by an emergency alert system. And this is something we've been talking about for many years here on Infowars. The article from Paul Joseph Watson is titled, "Nationwide Emergency Alert Test Causes Panic, Confusion. TV viewers across America see unexpected message." The test began around 11 a.m. Eastern and was broadcast in Washington, D.C., Indiana, Kentucky, Maryland, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. The emergency alert contained no details and merely listed the states affected, and it said the alert would run from 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. midnight. Viewers in Sacramento, California also reported seeing the test, although it only lasted there for a few minutes. And I want to go to a report. I'm going to go to that later in this segment, but I just want to read to you a piece of it. And this is titled, "Obama Launches Total Takeover of the Media." As next-generation EAS systems become operational over the next few years, they will complement other public alert and warning systems now being developed, including FEMA's Integrated Public Alert and Warning System, IPAWS, and commercial mobile alert system that will enable consumers to receive alerts through a variety of multimedia platforms on their smartphones, BlackBerries, and other mobile broadband devices. They're also testing this out for video game systems. For those of you playing games like World of Warcraft or even playing with your friends like Mortal Kombat or something online, they'll be able to see these alerts. They'll be able to break through and give you these presidential alerts. Now, we were talking about this particular video that we're going to throw to in a bit. We brought this out in 2011. So many years ago, we were talking about how this is going to affect you. And this is a way that you can see the incremental creep of government. They put the system in through presidential directive back in February of 2011. Now, 2015, in March, we're seeing the fruits of that, where these statewide, multi-state alerts are going out with no real information. They're just testing the system. So when they do go operational, they will be putting out lots of propaganda, you could be sure. Propaganda like this next story from KX11 News 12, assault landing training exercise at NTRA Parent Field. On March 28th, the first of the 143rd Airborne Battalion conducted exercises at North Texas Regional Airport. Soldiers hit the ground running March 28th, taking part in an assault landing exercise at the North Texas Regional Airport in Denison. We had a fictitious enemy situation in which we did detailed mission planning for, said Lieutenant Colonel Krupp. It gave us a different look and a different piece of terrain to actually operate over. Also, due to the size of the battalion, we needed a large footprint in order to actually get the most value out of the training, the Lieutenant Colonel Krupp said. Now, we're going to go to a report here on Joe Biggs. I sent this to him and said, what do you think of this? What do you think this is really all about? And this is what he had to say.
Joe Biggs here with Infowars.com. Now, over the weekend, the 143rd Airborne Battalion conducted exercise at a North Regional Texas airport.
Soldiers hit the ground running Saturday morning, taking part in an assault landing exercise at the North Texas Regional Airport in Denison.
We had a fictitious enemy situation in which we did detailed mission planning for, said Lieutenant Colonel Krupp.
We had a fictitious enemy situation in which we did detailed mission planning for.
Why is Texas continuously being labeled as hostile? Why are all these enemy situations happening in Texas? What is going on? What is the military really, truly planning for? And my other question is we spend millions and millions of dollars in taxpayer money to build these training facilities on government property so the soldiers themselves and their officers can train without being bothered, without bothering other people, and go about it, in a professional manner. We have no problem with that because that's what the money is for. But there is a big problem when you start bringing these training exercises off of government property and into people's backyards. It is a conditioning, it is a psyop to get people used to seeing military presence every day.
Around 250 of the over 800 soldiers in the battalion took part in the airfield seizure operations, learning to take down an enemy. But this exercise was different.
In the video that we're going to go to, the lieutenant colonel even says that typically training like this does not happen off base. This happens on base. This is the reason we spend the money on these facilities, and the fact that these guys are not using the facilities is why it's alarming that they keep moving all of a sudden from these bases and off into the civilian population.
Typically, training is done on an active military base, not a public airport. But the change in location benefits the soldiers.
Gives us a different look and a different piece of terrain to actually operate over.
We're not doing this to scare people. We're doing this to bring awareness to the fact that this is conditioning. This is used as a psyop to get you, the public, to being used to seeing this kind of stuff happening all the time. So when it does happen, you're not quite ready. You just think it's another training operation.
That's right, Joe. And what they do is they have a nice, pleasant-sounding, monotone newscaster roll it out saying, they're doing this to benefit the troops. You're for the troops, aren't you? That's psychologically what they're doing, because if you don't agree with this type of stuff, then you must be anti-troop. Even though they spend millions of dollars building these training centers on bases like what you saw at Fort A.P. Hill when we sent David Knight and Joe Biggs down there to investigate that, where it was a training center that was built to look like an American city. Even though they say this training is for overseas, we've detailed time and time again and showed you the documents that it's not for that. It is dual purpose training that if anything should hit the fan, any type of emergency, the president can quickly turn these operations that are supposedly meant to be overseas and make these things happen right in our backyard, which leads us, some of the footage you saw in there was from an actual operation that happened in Fort Lauderdale over the weekend. Video shows troops training to intern citizens in Fort Lauderdale, also from Paul Joseph Watson. Footage out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, shot earlier this week, shows military and law enforcement practicing the internment of citizens during martial law-style training. The exercise was accompanied by very little media coverage. A Sun-Sentinel report said that the Broward County Police would be assisting members of the U.S. Special Operations Forces who are undergoing urban warfare training. The goal is to prepare participants in realistic, unfamiliar training conditions before they deploy for combat overseas, states the report. Residents were advised not to be alarmed by Black Hawk helicopters in the sky because we all know Black Hawk helicopters really don't exist. It's all in your figment. It's a figment of your imagination, and if you do believe in them, you must be a conspiracy theorist. Now I want to go to that report that I alluded to earlier in the show. This is from February 8, 2011. Obama launches total takeover of the media emergency alert system. And we're going to go to break, and then we'll be back with a lot more news. Stay tuned. It's the Infowars Nightly News, and I'm your host, Rob Dew.
Infowars Life and InfowarsLife.com is extremely excited to announce our latest release, Winter Sun, a revolutionary type of vitamin D3. Winter Sun is a premium quality vitamin D3 nutritional supplement. It is produced by extracting oil from healthy, nutrient-dense plants known as lichens. Every batch is analyzed for purity and D3 content. It's completely free of toxins and allergens. Simply put, if you want the best at an extremely low price, this is it. Winter Sun is the result of our pursuit of the best source of vitamin D3. The research and development took over 2 years, but the result, as verified by independent laboratories, is the best vegan vitamin D3 product in the world. Read the facts at InfowarsLife.com about Winter Sun Vitamin D3. Not only does vitamin D3 promote a healthy mood, but vitamin D supports our memory and brain function, something the globalists are targeting. Visit Infowars.com today or call 888-253-3139.